All right, got a pretty easy one today. We're just going to replace the self-propelled cable on this Toro recycler. I've already removed the bad one, the broken one. There's a screw here and a screw up here. You just remove those. I think they're 7/16, don't quote me on that. Super simple. Top cover comes right off. Not even going to film that. Once that cover comes off, it looks like this. You can see the drive pulley here. Belt should be pretty loose. Cable runs through here. Spring attaches right there. And we've got our replacement. Got a nice aftermarket here. I think this was less than 20 bucks. This is my beater mower for work, so I really don't care about this one. So where are you going? We're going on the cheap on this one. If it breaks again, I don't care, because Focus, so professional. All right, let's open this thing up and see what we got, because Focus and so professional. All right, I just measured the sheath here. I think it was like 54.5 inches all the way from here to the other end here, and then the total cable length was like 68 inches from the Z bend all the way to the spring. And I'm glad it came with the spring, because trying to thread this stupid thing on would have been a nightmare on the old spring. Anyway, let's get to it. Ooh, and it came with zip ties. I just noticed that. All right. Super simple to get off. That's why I didn't film it. You can reverse engineer how to get it off just by putting it back together here. Spring goes right. Rock that down in there, just like that. Zoom in if you want. Cable just slots, goes right through this slot here. Come around so you can see that. Little slot. This little piece, I'm going to take up the slack on the other end of the cable and just push that till it clicks. Ready? Hey, we're halfway there. All right, so we're going to come up this way. We're just going to run the cable through the hole here, retighten it here, and connect it to the drive bar there. Here we go. All right. Z-bend comes up that way. Pretty easy. And then we'll have to take this nut off here as a nut and a washer for the cable holder. That's what I'm calling it. You have to actually pull the bolt out. Run the cable through there. Come on. Probably the hardest part of the job right here. This was tricky getting off. Don't know why it's so tricky getting back on. There we go. Slipped right through. Go ahead and run the bolt. It'd help if I ran it through the handlebar here. All right. Easy enough for you? Told you it was going to be an easy one, folks. Now, we'll adjust this later as needed, but for now, I'm just going to kind of push that in there. We'll thumb tighten this on, and then we'll get it through. It's not the bail bar. This is the bail bar. The other bar is the self-propelled bar. All right, we'll just thumb tighten that on for right now. Okay, I did give myself a little extra slack by pushing that sheath through the holder, whatever it's called. And we just push the Z bend right through there like that. That is it. And I'm just going to pull the sheath back until it's, takes up some of the slack off the, there we go. Shouldn't be tight, should just be kind of snug. Like I said, we can micro adjust this later as needed. Tighten that up and we'll test her out. Okay, and it does look like I have a use for the zip tie. A little too much slack wanting too much slacky slack here. I think that looks good, don't you? Right about there. Pull that through. Help if I did it the right way. I had a 50-50 chance. Got it wrong. Let's go around the other way. Mr. Barefoot Garage. I think there's like 100 other YouTube channels called Barefoot Garage. I'm not quite barefoot. Pretty darn close. Get some snippers. Let's cut off the excess. Super easy. Okay, and I told you the cover was super simple. We're just going to put that right back on. Can't mess this up too much. It's a little tricky. See that lines up with that. So come on. Cable goes through there. That would help. Of course, my wife decided now would be a good time to mow. I offered to help, just for the record. I did offer to help. She said no thank you. Yeah, I spoke too soon. This is probably the hardest part. Getting it off is pretty easy. Getting it to go back on. Okay, I lied. Belt goes through there. Cable goes through there. Just trying to cram too much in one space. Like my first day today. There we go. Alright, let's see if I can do this in one take. Yeah, I can see the hole lines up there. That's pretty easy. We'll thumb tighten that. I'll screw all this stuff in later. I can just get this to hold on there. This bolt right here is a little tricky to get to. You definitely want to clean out all the grass around the bolt, or it will keep even the skinniest of sockets from getting in there. I tried. All right, I think it's time for the drill. All right, I lied. It's 3/8. And my wife, we live on 100 acres. My wife has to mow the closest acre to the camera. All right, let's come over this way. Like I said, this one was a little trickier to get to. It's right up in the corner here. Kind of difficult to get the socket in there. Even right now, I'm going to try to back it out, straighten it out, because it's crooked. Everything else was pretty painless. This stupid cover. Oh yeah, that bolt, that screw is really, I mean, jeez. Actually had to get the pliers out so I can do it this way. We're going to put the screw in the socket. Make sure we go the right direction. Other one. See, it grabbed onto my socket. That's how tight that is. Come on now. Come on now. Pliers to the rescue. Yeah, this was a challenge getting this out. Challenge getting it back in. Back over here. Good enough. Okay, and it's this one. That's 7/16. All right. That's that. I'll micro adjust that as needed. I'll test out the self-propelled, and if it's too loose, I'll pull it away. If it's too tight, we're going to go towards the bar. That's it. Hope that helps you all out. Thanks for watching.